Tom, Jerry Jones on 105.3 The Fan in the Metroplex today, when asked if anything that happens Sunday could affect the future of the coaching staff, he mentioned that the hay is in the barn there. So if you're Mike McCarthy, do you like that the hay's in the barn, or you don't like that the hay's in the barn, Tom?
If I'm Mike McCarthy, I don't want my fate being decided by, an evaluation type of game in week 18 where the opponent has a lot more motivation to play well than necessarily your team does. And credit to Mike and that staff. They've kept guys playing hard. They've won games with Cooper Rush. This is not by any means a Cowboys team that's mailed it in on a season that, felt like it was already on life support back in October. This is going to be a really interesting type of a situation. And I'm sure Jerry Jones loves the fact that he's got some time to play with. Mike McCarthy's contract does not expire until January 14th. So in essence, under NFL rules, they've got about a 9-day exclusive negotiating window in which other teams can request permission. They can deny it to talk to Mike McCarthy. They can see if there is an accord that would keep McCarthy in Dallas. Once January 14th hits, McCarthy does not need permission. He can go interview and potentially take another job. And I do anticipate, as we talked about, Rich, last week on Game Day Morning, there are going to be other teams interested in Mike McCarthy. The Jets, he would fit a lot of the profile that they're looking for. The Saints, he's got a history in that building, worked with Mickey Loomis when he was the New Orleans offensive coordinator a couple of decades ago here. And for Jerry, who, of course, always likes people talking about the Cowboys, good or bad, all the time, imagine how great this is that even at a time they are not in the postseason, they are not playing a wild card game, by just moving very deliberately through this process, he can keep people talking about what exactly is happening in Dallas for up to 9 days before he really has to make a final and full decision.
All right. So your answer leads to my next question. So you can confirm that the Jets know what they're looking for. Is that where you can confirm that you said that Mike McCarthy is something that the Jets would be interested in because they know what they're looking for? If that's the case, what are they looking for, Tom? Can you let me know about what the Jets' plan is, Tom?
Here's what I would say about the Jets. And it's not that they have a clear vision of a singular person that they're looking for, but after having a first-time head coach and a first-time GM last time around, they are certainly going to skew toward experience in one, if not both spots. And this is also at a time where, in all likelihood, they're going to have to draft a quarterback. They're going to have to bring a young player along at that position. And if you look around, who are the experienced offensive coaches with a history of quarterback development that are available right now on the market? Some of the names that come to mind, there's obviously Mike McCarthy, who, when he, even setting aside his assistant coaching days, he got to Green Bay. Brett Favre had a career renaissance in 07. He brought Aaron Rodgers along, and he, obviously developed into a 4-time MVP winner. You had Dak Prescott, who last year with McCarthy calling the plays had the best season of his career. And Mike's won 61% of his career games and has won a Super Bowl and gone to the playoffs 12 times in 18 years. When you're trying to reestablish credibility alone in your program, it would make sense. Again, it's not a hard and fast rule. They could hire a first-timer if they want to, but it would make sense to get somebody who's got the proverbial pelts on the wall to be able to show, hey, this is a different time for the New York Jets. Beyond that, okay, offensive coaches who have had some degree of success as head coaches. Jon Gruden is on that list, and that is a name that I fully anticipate you are going to hear. I believe there will be interest in Jon Gruden this time around, even after 3 years ago. Obviously, he resigned as the Raiders head coach after offensive emails were leaked, and there's ongoing litigation involving Jon Gruden in the league over those emails. But for a team like the Jets, who's looking for experience, for a team like the Saints, that last year, my understanding is Gruden could have had the offensive coordinator job if he wanted it. He ultimately decided that he did not want to do that. The Raiders obviously know him well. The Buccaneers, if they were to make a change, know him well. There's a lot of teams that have a lot of respect for Jon Gruden out there. So if that's what you're looking for, that's another name. Beyond that, you're talking about a pretty short list. Matt Nagy is another name that I think you're going to hear pop up. And I know that, there's a certain coterie of fans, namely in Chicago, who hear that name and don't understand why he's going to be a head coach again. The guy had a winning record in Chicago. He went to the playoffs twice with Mitch Trubisky as his quarterback. And Nagy's first year, if not for the double doink, they were one of the hottest teams, and they're dancing in the locker room with the smoke machines and everything. Like, it was fun. And then, there were maybe some things staffing wise that could have been different and whatnot. But those are some of the names. There's not a lot of those guys, offensive coaches who have experience. Again, that's not to say the Jets need an offensive coach or even necessarily that they're going to look for experience. But if I were guessing, Rich, what the profile is that they're looking for, certainly success as an NFL head coach would be a really big plus on a resume.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.